Somewhere on a mysterious island, a powerful organization is running secret experiments in its hidden facilities. The head of the operation, John, decides to visit the lab himself after repeated failures in creating a controlled living weapon. Making things worse, the authorities have begun an investigation into the covert project. Under pressure, John decides to destroy all research immediately. He arrives at the heart of the lab and unveils the main experiment, a gigantic serpent, larger than anything anyone has seen. But the creature doesn't obey its creators. Realizing the danger, John orders its destruction. Scientists inject toxins into the massive animal using the lab's computers, while teams outside try to burn smaller snakes with fire. To everyone's shock, the toxins don't weaken the serpent. Instead, it grows more powerful and begins to roar. The giant snake awakens the others, sending them into a frenzy. As panic spreads, some try to burn the creature while escaping the facility. Meanwhile, in the pits, the awakened snakes attack, pulling people down and eliminating them. John escapes with his bodyguards and orders his soldiers to eliminate all remaining witnesses. As they flee, one of the experimental creatures escapes and begins attacking the soldiers, hurling them like ragdolls. The giant snake also starts breaking free. John races to the helicopters, leaving his bodyguards and soldiers behind to deal with the chaos. The remaining troops push into the forest to try and stop the creatures, unaware that they've become nearly unstoppable. The snakes quickly take over the entire base. The troops in the jungle are taken down one by one until only 2 women remain. With no bullets left, they're forced to fight with knives. One is seriously injured during an attack. Her friend attempts to save her by stabbing the beast, but it flings her away with ease. She survives the blow but finds her friend already gone. The massive creature grabs her and lifts her into the air as she screams, then devours her whole. A few soldiers manage to escape and board a boat, only to be dragged into the water by the same monstrous serpent. A year later, a cruise ship sails across the ocean. Passengers are enjoying themselves, unaware of the fate that awaits. Unknown to them, someone has tampered with the ship's course and taken out the captain. People remain unaware as a huge shadow appears beneath the water. Soon, countless snakes begin to crawl across the vessel, attacking and overwhelming the passengers. Panic erupts. A man named Ty is on board with his partner Marley. As screams echo through the ship, they realize something is wrong. The snakes have infiltrated every area, and people are collapsing from their bites. Ty rushes to the cafeteria to warn others, but it's too late. The snakes have already made it inside. Suddenly, an even larger serpent begins to hunt passengers as if they were prey. Ty and a small group of survivors flee, barely escaping into the cabins. They reach the engine room, where Ty comes up with a plan. He notices that the giant snake may not see well and decides to use heat and noise to distract it. The group stays quiet, and for a moment, it seems to work. The creature starts to move away. But the silence is broken when an alarm goes off from someone's device. The snake immediately returns, forcing everyone to run. Ty strikes the creature's head with an axe while Marley uses a fire extinguisher to drive it back. The group escapes, but the creature is far from finished. They hide inside a walk-in freezer. Trapped, they're forced to choose between freezing or being caught. One passenger starts to bleed from the nose. He's been poisoned and won't make it without help. Ty prepares to lure the creature away, but his friend Lee refuses to let him. Before they can decide, the poisoned man rushes out, shouting to draw the snake's attention. The survivors use the distraction to flee. They realize they must restart the ship to escape. In the navigation room, they find all the captains gone. Still, they manage to get the engines running again and steer away from the area. Eventually, they spot an island and believe they're finally safe. But something massive halts the ship and blocks all the windows. Ty fires a flare into the sky, and everyone is stunned as a building-sized monster rises from the water. It lets out a terrifying roar, sending people running in fear. The survivors decide to abandon ship. Ty urges everyone to escape in lifeboats while he goes back to stall the creature. He runs to the engine room, opens the gas lines, and lets it fill the area. The others board a lifeboat, watching in horror as Ty faces the monster alone. As the creature wraps around the ship, Ty knows his time is up. He takes out a flare, fires it into the air, and the screen fades to black. On the ship, a massive explosion is triggered that causes it to sink instantly. Everyone believes Ty didn't survive, but he manages to escape just in time and is rescued aboard a nearby boat. The next morning, the group wakes to find they've finally reached the island. The survivors step onto solid ground, thinking they've escaped the danger of the mutant snakes. But they're unaware that something even more threatening awaits them. Soon, Ty begins to hear a strange sound and senses that something is wrong. He warns the others to leave immediately. Despite his warning, one of the men wanders into an area with odd-looking rocks. Suddenly, a huge creature with tentacles emerges and seizes the man, pulling him into its shell. Realizing they are in serious danger, The others watch in horror as more of the creatures begin attacking, taking victims as though they were part of a feast. Chaos erupts as everyone runs for their lives. Surprisingly, the creatures retreat before reaching the entire group. Tai realizes they were only drawn to the scent of blood and targeted those who were injured. Using this discovery to their advantage, the survivors manage to leave the area and move deeper into the jungle. Eventually, they find what appears to be an abandoned military camp. Inside, they locate a transmitter and gather equipment, planning to climb to a high point to send a distress signal. As the group continues through the dense jungle, Tai starts to feel something moving nearby. One of the survivors sees a terrible sight, and the others turn in fear as they witness him being impaled by something enormous. It turns out they are under attack by a giant spider, larger than any human, hunting them like prey. The group hides among the trees, and though some try to fight back, their efforts fail. Another person is caught and dragged away, but before being taken, he sacrifices himself with a grenade, taking the creature down with him. The explosion forces the monster to retreat, giving the others a chance to escape. Eventually, they arrive at a massive, abandoned facility that was once a laboratory. They cautiously enter and discover documents revealing past experiments involving mutant snakes. Surprisingly, the power is still running. They find a room with a large stockpile of food and water, which allows them to rest and recover. That night, as everyone sleeps, one of the survivors secretly leaves the group. Tai wakes up and notices the man is missing. He heads back into the underground tunnels, preparing for the worst. Meanwhile, the missing man is seen on the upper floor stealing research documents. At the same time, Lee also wakes up, unaware of what's happening. Tai eventually finds an exit leading into a fog-covered area. There, he hears something terrible and spots movement. It's the giant snake from the ocean, still alive. The creature attacks, but Tai's friend arrives just in time, opening fire to distract it. However, the snake retaliates and attempts to devour him. Tai manages to avoid being caught, but is forced to leave his friend behind when the exit is blocked. Back with the group, Tai delivers the bad news. Just then, the transmitter picks up a signal, giving them a chance to call for help. But everyone knows they won't make it out alive if the giant snake is still nearby. Tai comes up with a plan to end the threat. He tells the others to create traps and make the creature bleed, then lure it toward the cliff where the tentacled monsters could finish it off for them. The group prepares for the final showdown. The next morning, they hide in the trees as Tai honors his fallen friend. But suddenly, the suspicious man pulls out a knife and tries to take Tai down. Tai defends himself and quickly overpowers him. Demanding answers, Tai discovers the man is actually a former scientist from the lab. He had avoided punishment and returned to continue his experiments. The scientist believes his work could help humanity, but Tai sees it as madness. Meanwhile, the others manage to lure the giant snake into the trap-filled area. The creature charges forward, moving past the traps and straight toward the scientist. Tai uses the moment to run in the opposite direction, leaving the scientist to face the monster he helped create. As the snake chases Tai through the jungle, he throws containers filled with blood onto the beach. This quickly draws the attention of the tentacled creatures. Tai races to a large cliff and jumps just in time to escape being caught. Hanging onto a tree to avoid the fall, he watches as the giant snake crashes directly into the creature's den. Smelling its wounds, they swarm the snake and overwhelm it. The monstrous snake cries out before finally collapsing, defeated. Later, the survivors wait on the beach. At last, a ship appears in the distance. Tai and the others look on in relief as they prepare for rescue, watching the sunset mark the end of their journey.